Hi, everyone. Welcome to my video today as we dive into the full moon taking place in the sign of Libra on April 13th. So before we start to talk about the implications of this Libra full moon, let's first understand what a full moon even is and why it's important. So a full moon takes place when the moon is opposite the sun at a 180-degree angle, meaning the sun and moon are in opposite signs of the zodiac. This really brings about a peak in the lunar cycle, amplifying energy so that we're all kind of feeling it on an emotional level. And it's really bringing our emotions to a heightened state, where hidden truths may be coming to the surface. We're very reactive and sensitive to our environment. And this is because the full moon's light brings conscious awareness into our being so that it prompts us to reflect on deeper emotional themes going on within us. We might stop and self-reflect on the past month's activities so we can bring them into focus, understand what went wrong so we can make conscious choices going forward into the future. So we all feel something very intensely during the full moon. And this is providing opportunities for release and healing so transformation can take place. So paying attention and measuring how we're feeling based on our emotional responses and reactions to our environment is really important during the full moon. So the zodiac sign that the full moon falls in reveals its particular influence on us collectively. It emphasizes different themes and energies that we will all be feeling in one way or another in our lives. So this full moon on April 13th occurs at Libra 23 degrees, and it's showing up as a powerful time for us all to reflect on our relationships with others. We are all being called to find peace and harmony in our relationships by reconciling our own needs with the needs of others. We're being invited to evaluate our identity through comparison and contrast, really understanding boundaries and the concept of where I end and you begin. What makes me me and what makes you you? We're not one and the same. So essentially, this full moon urges us to become aware of our unique individuality in a social context, because we can only really know who we are by understanding who we are not, which is a lesson we gain through our interactions with others. So in this way, we're defining ourselves through our relationships, and we're also being asked to learn balance and diplomacy in our relationships. So as our relationships are being brought into this heightened state of awareness, they're really highlighted under this full moon in Libra. We're reminded that the connection between two people is always a balance of push and pull, of give and take. This is the dynamic that is essential. It's the essence of all human relationships. So to truly engage with one another, we must both claim and surrender, as this dance between two people becomes a balanced cooperation, which is necessary for healthy relationships to thrive. So consideration is also something that's coming up during this full moon. To be considerate, we must understand the needs and desires of others and take them into account when pursuing our own goals. It's important to see the potential in those closest to us. So, by recognizing and vocalizing someone else's potential, we help bring it into reality. We underestimate the power that we have in helping people grow and become the best versions of themselves simply by recognizing that part of them. So people often need someone else to affirm their possibilities, their potential before they can truly believe it themselves. So this is really a charm. It's developing the charm of tact, of looking for the best in others, which can be so remarkably transformative for others and for our own lives. In this way, we have the power to awaken dormant potential in another person and help bring it to life. We can do this by intentionally creating an atmosphere that fosters this kind of growth, not just for ourselves, but also for those we care about. So, particularly our partners and our family members and those we interact with on a daily basis. So, in doing so, we're creating a space that nurtures positivity, reduces stress, and encourages harmony and collaboration. So, by embracing kindness and optimism, we can cultivate joy in our relationships. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we want? We want to feel joy when interacting with another. So, the key to success really lies in recognizing and celebrating the unique qualities that define us and also that define those we love. Social groups prosper when everyone has the chance to contribute their unique individuality, because that makes life richer for all. So, this Libra full moon invites a key question. How do we demonstrate our distinct, unique individuality and distinguish ourselves from others while also allowing others the freedom to do the same, the freedom to distinguish themselves from us? It is really a rare person who can live and proclaim their unique ideas and values, undetoured by social expectations, social niceties, social conditions, and also who can live by and proclaim who they are despite the oppressiveness of the judgment of community. So when we act in this way, we have to understand that we each have our own insights and discernments, and the soul only achieves its true integrity when we trust that these are enough to guide us through every situation life presents. So the quest for a meaningful place in life is profoundly significant for all of us, and the quest to find it leaves a lasting mark on the soul. At times, the ego must take risks, boldly sharing and declaring who we are. We must declare it. We must show the world the qualities, aspirations, and skills that define us. And this is how we announce our soul's purpose. So, by doing so, we're learning to embrace and leverage our unique strengths, which not only enriches our lives, but it enriches the lives of those around us and those we come in contact with. So often this requires fearless self-disclosure, revealing ourselves honestly in a way that wins the hearts and minds of those we seek to influence. When done with integrity, self-disclosure fosters allegiance and fellowship, ensuring that our role in life is respected and goes unchallenged. This leads to a smooth, authentic way of living, and balanced relationships are more accessible, and we're able to have healthy, balanced interactions with others because we encourage others to do the same. So, to do this, we really have to hold firmly in our own distinctiveness, embracing what makes us uniquely who we are. Even if that sets us apart from the norm, if it sets us apart from everyone else and makes us weird, we have to do it. By cherishing our differences, we refine our perceptions, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. We begin to recognize not only the value of differentiation, but also the hidden connections and affinities that lie beneath all of our differences. So, our personal quirks are really our treasures to be valued because they outline our idealized vision of life. So, moreover, the process of reaching a unique standpoint enhances our ability to assess any situation and respond to it with complete and total originality. What purpose do we serve if we cannot contribute something new and idealistic to humanity? So, the potential of our world really can only unfold through the unique actions of each and every one of us. So, it's important that we recognize this. Under the influence of this full moon in Libra, we may feel as though we're undergoing a crucial lesson right now, one that is teaching us objectivity, to objectively perceive the reality of others rather than looking at others through a subjective viewpoint where we're only seeing it through a filtered lens. This is because the pursuit of meaning and excellence really involves a willingness to see other viewpoints. So, understanding that true insight is only gained through seeing things through the other side. We can't have insight when we're only seeing things through ourselves. So, to truly understand another's reality, we have to master the art of listening and hearing another. So this is something that doesn't come naturally, although we may think it does. It doesn't come naturally in human experience. So this means we're recognizing that others have different needs and values from our own. So only then can we differentiate our reality from theirs, ensuring our relationships are based on equality and balance rather than dominance and subservience. So Libra reflects the natural laws of giving, sharing, and inclusion. So at its highest expression, Libra is empathic and considerate. It seeks equality, peace, and balance among all people. So the spiritual lesson, love thy neighbor as thyself, is really an ultimately the Libra principle. In order to truly love thy neighbor, though, we must learn the psychology of listening, of active, deep listening to another. It's important that we understand that how we listen to others is always shaped by our own internal dialogue. So, this full moon is encouraging us to really observe and self reflect on our own self talk. So, as we're understanding the words we tell ourselves will reveal how we hear and respond to other people's words. So, if we tell ourselves that we're unworthy of love, we will inadvertently attract others to us who tell us we're unworthy of love. And here is where we see that the idea of the mirror, and that all of our relationships in life are really just a mirror, reflecting back to us exactly what's going on inside of us. So we must consider the fact that if we want to be unconditionally loved and accepted in our relationships, we must be heard by others, and we ourselves must hear others. This means others must listen to us just as we learn to listen deeply to others. When we only listen through the filter of our own needs and expectations, we hear only what we want to hear, not what is actually being communicated to us. So we really are missing the point entirely. So we cannot accept others unconditionally if we haven't truly heard them. And the same goes for others can't accept us unconditionally if they haven't truly heard us. So we must learn to listen in order to be listened to. We must learn to hear in order to be heard. So in this way, we're learning that we must give in order to receive. So the Libra full moon also presents a powerful opportunity to engage with our inner selves and our inner emotional lives, to really get in touch with what's going on inside of us, so that we can understand our own emotional reality. Through thoughtful self-reflection, we begin to understand others from their emotional reality. So recognizing that each person's emotional experience is unique to them will allow us to accept and embrace diversity. What makes us different from everyone else we can only understand that once we truly understand the reality of others. Then, through comparison and contrast, we can grasp who we are in regard to who someone else is. So, in doing so, we can be more accepting of not only our own distinctiveness, but also what makes others unique and distinct from us. We can accept their distinctiveness. So, if we fail to listen and understand others, we really only see them as extensions of ourselves. This means we do not accept, we do not see, we cannot see someone else and understand them as an individual. We only see them as an extension of ourselves. So we must develop an objective awareness of others in order to engage in truly meaningful social connections. So, an inability to relate to others can really create feelings of isolation and hinder our ability to develop healthy connections and form lasting bonds. It can even inhibit our ability to integrate fully into society, because we must remember that we're a social species, and learning the lesson of true connection is really vital for our mutual benefit, for our evolution as human beings. So, to achieve this, we must confront and purge our egocentric tendencies, because only then can we enter the social arena with a purified outlook, one free from self-serving biases, which will allow us to connect with others in a much deeper, more authentic, and equal way. So, this full moon in Libra will be also illuminating themes of equality, inequality, social injustice, and social justice, because Libra governs the psychological extremes and imbalances that show up in all kinds of human relationships. So, at the heart of this energy, we will find our relationships, particularly those that feel imbalanced, as being brought to the surface of our conscious awareness. The full moon, which represents our emotional state, really may trigger intense feelings, especially from those attempting to dominate us or treat us unfairly and unequally. So, Libra, it symbolizes balance and fairness in relationships, will really compel us to confront and heal these imbalances, whether we like it or not. So, balancing dominance and subservience really is something that doesn't come easy in human nature. Societal dynamics often reinforce these extremes within us. So, Libra's archetype is urging us to reconcile these discordant aspects of our human nature. We have to remember that Libra reflects our desire for self-completion through relationships. So when this dynamic is distorted, it can manifest through unhealthy relationships, really toxic situations where we either take on the dominant or the subservient role. And often we're unconscious that this is happening. We don't know this on a conscious level. So, under this full moon, we will definitely feel a heightened need to connect with others emotionally. However, we're being asked to stop and reflect on this, because it's crucial to understand the source of this need. Why do we feel such a need to connect emotionally? If we find ourselves creating situations where we need to be needed by someone else, we may inadvertently take on a dominant role and leave others in the subservient position. This disrupts emotional balance and equality in our relationships. So, these are what we call displaced emotional needs that lead to codependency in relationships, where we expect others to fulfill our emotional gaps due to our own insecurities. So, to heal these imbalances and extremes, we must learn to meet our own needs from within, because only then can we really build truly equal, healthy relationships where we're showing up on an equal basis, both personally and within the broader social framework. So, the spiritual lesson here is to recognize and meet our own emotional needs rather than projecting them onto other people. By becoming aware of our unconscious tendencies to act dominantly in relationships, which means we're prioritizing our own self-centered needs over those of others, we really can help um, not not risking completely excluding other people's needs entirely. So in doing so, we're getting a grasp on how we may unconsciously manipulate our relationship dynamics, making our partners and those we're closest to feel as though they need us in order to feel loved, accepted, and validated, because this is what a child does with a parent. So, in getting in touch with these unhealed childhood wounds, we don't reenact them in our adult relationships. So, knowingly or unknowingly, we're not creating codependent, toxic situations where we're dominating another person, ensuring that they rely on us based on our own unhealed childhood wounds. So, by having another person need us, we feel validated and special. And so this Libra full moon is highlighting our tendency to do this, our tendency to create such scenarios by by having another person meet our own emotional needs. And then on the flip side, we may find ourselves in the position of meeting someone else's needs at the expense of our own, allowing their needs to overshadow our own. So in this dynamic, we may become really the alter ego of another person, completely sacrificing our own values and needs in order to fulfill someone else's emotional needs. And this obviously leads us to believe that by fulfilling someone else's needs, our needs are met, which really they're not, but we think that they are. So obviously, we're not consciously aware of how self-destructive and self-limiting this kind of behavior is. So this is a core lesson of Libra energy, one where projected needs and expectations in relationships foster conditional love and giving. So love that is given and withheld based on certain conditions. And obviously, this is vastly different than the purity of unconditional love and selfless giving, which this Libra full moon is asking us to get in touch with, understand what is it to be able to give unconditional love? What does that mean to each of us individually? So let us all really embrace ourselves and one another in a healthy way, in a healthy, unconditional way, so life can be more meaningful and balanced for all. You know, by loving thy neighbor as thyself, we really set ourselves free. So I'm going to conclude the video here. I hope you enjoyed and I wish you luck. Much love to all. Thank you.